Welcome to Bright Workspace Members Conversation, a special panel edition of our podcast where we shine a light on the fascinating, evolving world of work right here in the Golden Horseshoe. I'm your host, Stephanie Massari, co-founder and CEO of Bright Workspace, and today we're diving into the stories, strategies, and sparks of innovation coming straight from our own community of members.
It's great because you have an opportunity to network with people that are within the Bright Workspace. And also when you have a professional space like Bright Workspace, the first thing they do when they come in, they're like, wow, this place is amazing.
From Niagara to Hamilton to Toronto, this region is home to some of Canada's most dynamic entrepreneurs, freelancers, and change makers. And at Bright Workspace, we believe that the future of work is local, collaborative, and full of possibility. In this conversation, we're bringing together a few of our inspiring members to explore how they're navigating today's work landscape, from scaling businesses and balancing hybrid teams to finding focus and connection in shared space. Whether you're tuning in from your office, your favorite coffee shop, or your co-working desk, we're so glad that you're here. Let's jump into the conversation. Today, we're thrilled to have Frank Petruza joining us, a seasoned level 2 mortgage agent with Mortgage Alliance right here in Ontario. So Frank, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Frank, so let's start with your day-to-day. How does co-working fit into your routine as a mortgage agent?
So basically, it's, usually I start my morning off with a good coffee in the kitchen there. So I have an espresso, and that usually gives me my boost to start the day. Every day is a little different, but it's great because you have an opportunity to network with people that are within the Bright Workspace space.
That's awesome. Yeah. That Jura jolt is sometimes better than hanging around the water cooler.
Absolutely.
To have the chats.
Yes. Cool.
Okay, so what drew you to working out of a shared space like Bright Workspace instead of a traditional office or working from home?
So I'll start with the working from home. So working from home, everybody has their distractions, right? Whether it's dogs, kids, your partner, or whatnot, right? Your neighbor can just, ask you random questions. I need this, I need that, right? People are cutting the grass. There's so many distractions really that go on. When you have a business mindset and you just want to get the job done, sometimes you just need a private space and the right atmosphere really to get the job done uninterrupted.
Nice. Yeah, you're not alone in that. I know a lot of other people who have joined our space have felt that. They're just like, I just need to get away from my kid. He's screaming all day and I just need to focus somewhere. So, yeah. Okay, so in your line of business, what are some of the elements that support professionalism to build credibility for your brand?
So, it's just, let's say when I'll start off when clients are meeting you, let's say first-time clients, right? So years ago, I'm sure I'm not alone in this one, but they would just meet their clients at like a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks, right? When you're in the financial industry and a lot of other industries, there's a lot of confidential information. Some people, they don't want to disclose certain things in a public setting. Mm-hmm. So meeting them at a Starbucks isn't too ideal, right? And then also when you have a professional space like Bright Workspace, the first thing they do when they come in, they're like, wow, this place is amazing. And then you offer them a coffee and you give them a quick tour and then you bring them and you seat them in your office. And that it elevates the experience from there. Mm-hmm,
that's great. Yeah. And plus we have also the boardrooms that are an option for
Absolutely.
You to utilize if
Yep.
you need to have more than a few people in your office. That space is there too.
Yeah.
For you. So
Yep.
That's nice. And yeah, Starbucks is definitely distracting and it kind of removes that professional piece, I find, when you've got the machine running, the barista names are calling in the back, right?
Yep.
Hey, Stephanie's coffee over here.
Exactly.
Okay, so can you give us a sense of how clients respond when they walk into a bright, modern co-working space versus meeting in a coffee shop? So we've got that one covered. You answered that thoroughly. Let's talk about business growth. So what are some of the financial tools or strategies you recommend for brokers or solopreneurs who want to expand?
Basically, I would just, don't rush into anything that you do, right? Like for myself, when I was looking to take that leap forward, I did go to quite a few different locations, but for one reason or another, they didn't offer complete package like Bright Workspace offers. So you have, stable Wi-Fi there, which is high speed. You got 2 different conference rooms that can accommodate smaller groups, larger groups. You have multiple washrooms. There's just so many different amenities that are being offered there, 24/7 access, right? So for one reason or another, everywhere else I kind of went to, I saw something that would hinder my growth.
Right.
So, yeah.
And did you find that having the multiple locations as an option, like the 5 other locations, if you need to meet a client, let's say in Burlington or Hamilton, you have that option to meet them there too.
Absolutely.
Spaces, right?
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest parts as well, just
Yeah.
that convenience aspect too, because my clients are from all over the place. So having just one set location versus 5, it's really a game changer.
Yeah, awesome. How does flexible financing, like access to lines of credit or bridge loans, help professionals take that next step with confidence?
So I tell everybody, like every time they meet me for the first time, right? Like people these days are well educated. They ask ChatGPT or the Google or anything, right?
Yeah.
They walk into their bank, so they talk to their friends. They know they have a lot of options. But there are times where there's misleading options or misinformation. So I try to just sit them down, get to know each individual person based on what their exact needs are, and then basically create a custom action plan for them.
Right. Yeah, I think the thing now with ChatGPT is that people are finding that it's only as good as the information that you can provide it. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, you cannot get rid of the person, to provide the proper advice over the machine, basically. Okay, so have you seen more professionals seeking out short-term financial solutions to stabilize or invest in their business?
I have. So with the changing market that's going on right now, it's ups and downs, right? So really right now, lenders are really starting to tighten up their clauses for lending out funds. So we got to get creative, and sometimes one of the creative ways is figuring out a short-term solution for people, and then just creating a plan where 6 months we'll be doing this, and then 3 months down the road, we'll reevaluate. So hopefully we're in a better position 6 months down the road.
Okay. All right. So what should someone look for in a lender or mortgage product when they're growing a small or independent business?
A lot of people, they tend to rate shop, right? And that's the thing where people, they're just stuck on the rate, right? But there's more to lending than just the rate. Really, there's terms and conditions, and life happens. So what I like to do is when I sit my clients down, I tell them, this is what I feel's best for you. These are the pros, these are the cons, and just keep in mind, let's say you need to sell your property. This is a penalty for breaking that. And I try to give them the complete insight on what they're going to expect down the road. You can't, predict everything, but if you can prepare them as best as possible, I just think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things like, if, they've got another 5 months left on their mortgage, there's that penalty.
Exactly.
Right? Like they may have to pay an additional $15,000 to break that to get refinancing on a new mortgage.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So a lot of people, they skip the fine print, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they just look for the cheapest rate. It's like, I just want 5%. Well, okay, there might be a little more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, what's your take on how business owners can safeguard themselves financially in a market that's still pretty unpredictable?
I think really it's just about options, ensuring that you evaluate each and every option, and you don't, my number one advice is just don't rush into anything. Really just think about it. There's certain scenarios where, you can't take a week to think about it, right? But you shouldn't make, a decision right on the spot. You should always get a second opinion and feel comfortable with who you're interacting with. But the biggest thing is just not rushing.
Right. So explore your options.
Exactly.
Okay. So for listeners who might be feeling overwhelmed, what's one piece of financial advice you'd offer to help them move forward with clarity and resilience?
I would say, speak to friends, speak to family, see who they've interacted with in the past. who they've had a good experience with and a bad experience. Like 90% of my business is all referrals, which I'm grateful for. But it's just like any business, like if people had a bad experience, you should speak to them and really see the truth to that, why they had a bad experience. And then if it genuinely was a bad experience, you would avoid that lender, that person, or hopefully don't make that same mistake.
Actually, what do you find as a mortgage broker? What is the biggest challenge on your day-to-day? Like, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you have in the business?
My biggest challenge, and in all honesty, it doesn't sound too good, but I'll explain it. Yeah. It's just the clients, for the most part, they're not honest. Now, I tell everyone, I'm like, you know what, we've all had, somewhat of a rough past, myself included. Everybody's gone up and down, right? So I tell them, there's nothing I haven't not heard about or not seen or haven't, personally encountered, right?
Right.
But it's just, whether they just feel embarrassed or they think myself or the lenders won't, find out about it. But really, when there's times where we're crunched for time, and you throw these curveballs, it's just, it can really change things.
Yeah, and then I'm sure they get pretty upset with you when they don't get approved or whatever.
Exactly.
Based on their,
Yeah, or we'll need like an extension, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, the other day, I was talking with my banker, and again, like going through trying to get loans, and I asked them kind of the similar question.
Yeah.
And they see it all. They see everything with, people fudging numbers
exactly
on their statements, on their financial reporting.
Yeah.
And he said most of the time what they try to do is, if your spidey sense is off, go with that.
Yeah.
Right? But he said most of the time it's not until about they're 85% in to the approval process that whoever the higher ups are in the bank go, hey, have you spoken to their accountant? And he goes, actually, like, no, I actually haven't. Like, I haven't met them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, kind of a red flag.
Exactly.
He did say, too, that someone, like, they can tell sometimes, too, like, the people will come in and sort of, like, pretend.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see they have this, like, brand new suit, and the price tag is still in the shirt, but they forgot to tuck it in fully. So they're, like, acting like they're the accountant or whoever it may be. And it just goes to show like what extent people will go to try to get loans and money that they need. And that's why also like you yourself being a professional in the business is having the eye for that and knowing when to spot where the red flags are and to what to watch out for.
Absolutely.
Right? So like I'm sure you've had best practices and have learned that throughout your experience in the business, right?
Yes.
So
it's the unfortunate aspect of the business, right?
Yeah. What would you say is the highlight, like for you? What's the thing that makes you go every day?
The highlight, honestly, it's like clients, they tend to shop around, right? Which is great. You should always shop around, see what truly is best for yourself. But it's those people that they've shopped around and they've come back to me, and then we're friends till this day, and they're like, wow, like the plan you've created, nobody else offered that sort of a plan, and I'm in a better place. And I've had that happen a few times, and it feels like amazing when you truly help somebody, and you can see like they're genuinely happy about it. And
you've made a difference. You made an impact for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also it's a big step, like when they're purchasing their first home.
Yes.
Like that experience for them from beginning to end, and to make it easy for them because it's such an overwhelming process.
It is.
I remember purchasing my first home, how overwhelming it was, and then not understanding the process. I probably didn't fully understand mortgage and how it actually works and the terms and all that until I actually owned a home for about 3 years in.
Yep.
That it really set in on, okay, this is how it works. This is the term. This is when I can break it. Like those sorts of things. Interest rates, all of that. It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot for someone going in not having that sort of financial background.
It is.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, especially even myself, I was in the same boat. first mortgage I had. It was a little overwhelming too. At that time, I wasn't in the mortgage industry, so I didn't quite understand it. But in my experience, if you really deal with somebody who knows that you're a first-time home buyer, who'll take that extra time to thoroughly explain everything,
yes,
that just makes a world of a difference.
Yeah. And I will say too, like I've noticed the difference from getting my mortgage through like one of the large banking institutions over working with a separate like mortgage broker, independent, private. The experience was completely different for me. That
Absolutely.
is actually where I learned.
Yeah.
Because she took the time to explain everything to me. So it's a huge difference.
I agree.
Yeah, I would definitely, for me, I'm not, hey, everybody go, banking, financial institutions are great, but I feel like dealing with someone like yourself makes a world of a difference.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, based on how the times are right now and how the market is, we all know it's not as stable as it's been. Like what, do you have any advice or touch points on the current economic standing of the market?
So regardless of the market we're in, I always give advice to my clients, never exceed what you can truly afford. And in these type of markets, that's highly, highly important because we're just so unstable, right? There's tariff here, tariff there. We don't know what's going to happen. The other thing, too, is just, really, truly exploring all your options and, just ensuring that, again, you don't, if your affordability is, 500,000, let's say, this market right now is not the time and place to really extend that and just keep things short term.
So when you say options, what do you mean by that? Like in terms of like their options, like is it, going with an A lender or B lender, like things like that? Like, is that something that
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, so with A lenders and B lenders, a lot of times clients will be like, I don't want a B lender, I don't want a private lender, I strictly want a bank. But there's so many different options out there with the B lenders that they do offer, competitive rates with, more attractive terms versus some of the banks, right? So in this type of market, because it's so unpredictable, I'd really tell people to explore all their options and keep nothing too long term.
Right.
I would try to do things at a 1 year term if possible and reevaluate in a year.
Right. So like judging on how the market is, like we don't know in the next year, what the rates are going to be or what the market's going to be like. Everyone's hoping that it's going to take a turn. Things are starting to influx a slight little bit right now.
Yeah.
But, a 1 year term over a 2 year or 3 year term might be the better option if someone is, willing to. I'm sure you have certain people that are a little bit more of the risk taker on the side,
Absolutely.
right? To be like, okay, I'll hold out for a year, or I'm gonna ride the variable rate.
Yeah.
Right. And they would ride the variable rate if they have that cash flow and the ability to do that.
Yep.
Right. Whereas someone would lock in because they need to know that this is what I need to know my payments are going to be. I can't go up or down and I'm just going to sit at that. But should the rates come down, I'm only locked in for 3 years or a 1 year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's things like convertible.
Yep.
I think there's convertible.
Yes.
And what the difference is.
Yep.
I've never fully understood the convertible, so I don't know if you can maybe touch on that.
Well, with the convertible, we'll touch based on the fixed versus variable first. So fixed versus variable, again, it's going to vary on client to client. So based on their exact portfolio, like you touched upon, some clients, they'll have that growth or that room to really be a little bit more on the flexible aspect of things. But if people are really, set on a salary income, and they know they can only afford, ABC, then I would strongly suggest that they go the fixed avenue versus variable, because variable, although, the rates could drop by the end of the year, they're talking about, potentially 2 rate drops. Hopefully there's one happening later this month, but fingers crossed, we'll see.
Right.
But, there's also a negative aspect to that as well, right? Rates can actually increase, right? So based on the particular individual, then we would assess their entire portfolio, their comfort level, and at the end of the day, I can make suggestions to the people, and I always give my honest suggestion, but I tell them, like, these are your options. I try to give them, at least 3 options, and I'm like, let's go, my opinion would be go option A. But ultimately, the choice lies with you. If you want option B, option C, that's perfectly okay. But these are the conditions associated with option B, option C.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how do you handle, for example, now, as we know, a lot of people that have had these 5-year fixed mortgages, they might have that lower rate of whatever it is, 3% or whatever you're seeing, whatever it may be. And now when they're coming out of their mortgage and they need to renew, say they have a, $900,000 mortgage that they're carrying, but they've been carrying at a 3% rate. Now they have to come out and break out of it and they need to renew, but they have to renew at a higher percentage. Are you finding that people are not able to afford it as much, or what is sort of... What
Absolutely.
does that gap look like?
Yes and no. So that just goes back to what I've been telling people, not only in these times, not to overreach yourself, but in general, right? And, people think it's, common sense, right? But when the rates were so low, and a lot of people, they think the rates these days are high, these rates these days are actually great. Right. We were just, around COVID, we were spoiled with those rates that were just, I don't believe we're going to see them ever again in our lifetime. But currently we have amazing rates if you look historically, right? And really people that outreach themselves when they had those, 2% interest rates, right? And now they're renewing at like double that.
Right.
That's, I hate to say it, but really ideally it's their own fault, right? If you would have worked within your comfort level, if you would have said, what, I can only afford a $600,000 mortgage,
right.
And then, interest rates are going to go to 4%, 4.25%, you really have to look into the future and look at the what ifs, and then just really stabilize yourself, worst case scenario. I'm not talking, interest rates are going to go back to 19%, but we got to be realistic, right?
Right. Yeah, because that was, when was that, the 80s or the 90s? It was
exactly.
Like 18% back then.
Oh, my parents tell me all the time, back in my day, 19%, 20% interest, right? But their mortgage was only $50,000. Right? So it's not like they had a massive mortgage, right?
Yeah,
so
it's not comparing apples to apples.
Exactly.
It's very, very different from what it was like then to now. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's been great having you in our Bright Workspace office located out of St. Catharines. I know that you and I have had some good collaboration. We've met some good people, even at our business club events here. It's been great. So
absolutely.
I hope we can continue to have these conversations. And
yes, I look forward to it.
Grow more, and if anybody needs a mortgage professional agent,
reach out.
Frank's the guy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's a wrap on this edition of Bright Workspace Members Conversation. A huge thank you to Frank Petruza for joining us and for sharing those insights and stories. At Bright Workspace, we believe that work is more than what you do. It's who you do it with, where you do it, and how it makes you feel. Conversations like this remind us of the power of connection, creativity, and community. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow along for future panels and member spotlights. And if you're local, come visit us and see what Bright Workspace is all about in one of our 5 locations. Until next time, keep creating, collaborating, and building the future of work together.